Welcome viewers to the channel. Dr. JWAU, theologist, Central Coast, New South Wales, Australia since 1994. This is the post-pandemic vaccine therapy journey I created. And we're in episode 6, when employment became conditional upon compliance. In the last episode, I examined how medical trust became psychologically entangled with pressure, consequence, fear, and uncertainty suppression. But for many ordinary people, the deepest confrontation arrived when survival itself became attached to compliance. Employment entered the pressure system. And at first, many workers believed the emergency measures would remain temporary. Short-term disruption, short-term sacrifice, short-term adaptation. But slowly another reality emerged beneath the public language. Access to ordinary economic survival itself was becoming conditional. Not only movement, not only gatherers and gatherings, not only travel, income, livelihood, trade and employment, or professional identity, yes, years of labour suddenly stood beneath institutional permission structures. And that changes people's psychology very quickly, because once survival becomes conditional upon behavioural alignment, fear no longer remains abstract. It enters the mortgage, the rent, the electricity bill, children's food, the apprenticeship, the business loan, the aging parent, the future. And those conditions many people experience something emotionally destabilizing. The state no longer felt distant. It entered the employer, the workplace, the HR department, the compliance meeting, the union discussion, the email, the roster, the warning, the suspension, the termination notice. Authority became decentralized from institutions, carrying enforcement into ordinary life. And that's how modern authoritarian systems often operate psychologically. Not always through visible soldiers, through distributed compliance structures, through conditional participation systems, through economic pressure, through fear of exclusion, through professional dependency, through the emotional terror of losing stability, while the surrounding population is taught to view resistance as dangerous selfishness. Many workers never experienced themselves as making free medical decisions internally. They experienced survival calculations: keep the job, protect the family, avoid public humiliation, preserve income, protect reputation. Do not become the problem person. Do not become unemployable. Do not become socially contaminated. That internal compression matters, because the nervous system reacts differently under perceived coercive survival pressure than under emotionally free consent. Some complied while inwardly distressed. Some resisted and lost employment. Some fractured psychologically under prolonged uncertainty. Some became angry. Some became emotionally numb. Others entered states of quiet submission where personal conviction slowly detached from outward behaviour entirely. And that split damages people internally over time. The body learns a dangerous lesson. Survival may require self-betrayal. And once populations begin learning to suppress conscience for economic safety, totalitarian behavioural conditions begin forming quietly underneath and beneath ordinary administration. Not always through overt dictatorship, through conditional dependency systems, through fear-managed participation, through institutional conformity structures, through bureaucratic enforcement normalised as collective responsibility. And the terrifying part is how ordinary the language sounded while this occurred. Safety, policy, procedure, compliance, mandate, requirement, workplace obligation, public health responsibility. And the softer the language became, the harder many people found it to explain the psychological injury forming underneath it. Because visible brutality was largely absent, the pressure became administrative, professional, financial, behavioural, existential. And administrative coercion often destabilises populations more quietly than overt force, because people begin participating in their own suppression while believing resistance itself threatens survival. And that creates profound moral confusion afterward. Some people now carry shame for complying against conscience. Some carry trauma from losing careers. Some carry bitterness towards institutions. Others still feel frightened speaking openly because the nervous system remembers what happened to people who publicly resist. And that lingering fear matters, because when populations become afraid to speak honestly after the emergency passes, the psychological architecture of authoritarian conditioning has already entered the culture deeply. And therapy cannot begin through denial. Many ordinary people experience genuine psychological destabilisation once employment, income, identity, movement, and survival become behaviourally linked to institutional compliance structures during prolonged emergency governance. And if authority still triggers fear, distrust, silence, hypervigilance, emotional shutdown, or internal conflict now, that reaction may not be irrational extremism. It may be the nervous system remembering what it felt like when ordinary survival became conditional upon visible obedience. Because the pandemic did not only reveal fear of illness, it revealed how quickly modern systems can reorganize ordinary life around conditional participation, economic pressure, institutional conformity, and psychologically enforced compliance. And I'd ask you to listen to my closing statement. The deepest authoritarian shift was not only that people feared losing freedom, many feared losing the ability to survive economically if they remained visibly unconvinced. I'm Dr. JWAU, theologist. Like and subscribe to encourage me, comment to educate me, and share to help somebody else. I'll see you in the next episode when the state entered family conversations and private conscience.